Budgeting is something that I haven't really talked about much on this channel, so I'm really glad that Shanna over at Making Everyday Magic decided to host this collaboration. If you're interested, there's a playlist link in my description below where a bunch of other homeschooling moms are sharing about their budgeting and how they keep track of expenses with their homeschooling. Hey guys, welcome back to Regular Secular Mama. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Cassie and I'm a 6th-year homeschooling mom to 2 kiddos who are currently ages 9 and 12 years old. You'll have to bear with me, I'm not really used to filming on my laptop's webcam, but I thought this would be an easier way to kind of share a screen recording and myself talking about it. I thought the simplest way to share about my budget would be to simply show you what I use and how I keep track of our expenses. So, let me make myself smaller. Alright, so what you are looking at here is a spreadsheet that I keep for all of my family's expenses. If I were to scroll up here, you would see all of a breakdown of what we spend every month, but I'm not going to show you that. What I will show you is if you scroll down below my regular budgeting that happens over here, I have this little sidebar list of expenses. Now I wanted to keep this super simple. I probably could have made a prettier and more organized, I guess, spreadsheet separately to track our expenses over an academic school year, but I was trying to keep it simple. So I just decided to keep it as like a little sidebar in my regular expense tracking budget spreadsheet. So that means I track my homeschool expenses over the course of a calendar year. It evens out in the end. It's really not that big of a deal to me, but it might be a little weird for you. So you do whatever works for you. This is just what works for me. So this year was a little bit funny because if you've been following me, you know that we moved from Texas to Florida and we moved from a large-ish house on acreage to an RV. So it was a huge transition. Luckily, that means that our expenses for 2023 so far have been very, very low. It's a good problem to have, but it means I haven't been keeping careful track of our spending just in general, because I haven't really had to. You know, it's a good problem to have. I did go back through like bank statements and things to make sure I included most of what I know we spent so far this year, and so here's a breakdown of what that looks like. When I go to set up a new budget for the calendar year, I take a look at what my spending looked like last calendar year to get an idea of what I think I might be spending this year. So I usually have an idea if I know we're going to be doing a different sport, or maybe a different type of class, or maybe we're starting a new type of curriculum we haven't used before. I can kind of make adjustments to these estimates over here, just looking at what I spent for the year. So here's what I spent in 2022. All right, so this is my actual spending for all of 2022, and I did keep careful records in 2022 just because I'm that kind of person. So here's what 2022 looked like for our homeschool spending. These are actual amounts for what we actually spent during the whole calendar year. Some of them kind of overlap a little bit. For example, this is what I paid to register them for soccer for the spring of 2023, but I paid for it in December, so I just counted it in here. It'll all even out in the end. As you can see, overall, I did very well, staying within what I thought I was going to spend. However, what happened was in Texas, I had a guest house that I ran on Airbnb, and we decided that 20% of the income from that Airbnb would pay for all of our school stuff. So this is what, like 20% of what I made from the Airbnb, you know, the profit from that. And I was hoping to keep it under that, and I didn't. But I still feel pretty good because this is what I thought I was going to spend. Anyway, when I see stuff like this and I know I'm a little bit off, I can go back and see, compare what I thought I was going to spend and what I actually spent. So here, for example, you can see a huge difference between what I thought we were going to spend on like summer camps and what we actually spent. I think what happened was that we decided that we had a little extra cash and we were okay with doing more camps than we normally did, and that's what happened here. I don't know if this is helpful for you to see like a real breakdown of what I actually spent, but here you go. So this year, in 2023 now, I do have to be a little bit more careful, I think, because we don't have that Airbnb income anymore. So it's just coming out of our regular family household income. Now, luckily, living in an RV for a while means that we have a little bit more room to spend money on homeschooling stuff. So I was a little bit generous when I came up with estimates for what I think we were going to spend, but I'm still being really careful when we're actually making those choices. Now, obviously, everybody's family is going to look a little bit different. Everybody's spending and budget amounts is going to be a little bit different. So take this with a grain of salt. This is just what my family spends and what works for us. And you're going to see a whole bunch of other families maybe sharing their, personal spending. It's going to look different for everybody. So don't feel like if you're spending way more than this, more power to you if you can. And if you're not even able to spend this amount, then don't feel like you can't homeschool or that it's not doable on a budget, because it really is. I would not say that I'm a particularly thrifty homeschooler, but I do have some tips and ideas for you if you are homeschooling on a budget or you're trying to keep those costs to a minimum. Number one is you can opt for free or very inexpensive curriculum. I don't actually use a whole lot of curriculum that's completely free, but there are a ton of options out there. One that comes to mind, and I have the tab open here, Khan Academy. They have tons of subjects, I think for every grade level. I haven't used them a lot myself, but they come highly recommended on like Facebook groups that I am a part of. This would be something that you might want to look into if you need something free, easy to use, and something your kids can do online without a whole lot of, parental involvement. Another option might be ck12.org. I believe this is one of those like open access, I can't think of the right term for it, where people create curriculum and then like make it open for the public. Again, it's another one with tons of different subjects, all different grade levels. I was looking into this actually when I was thinking about trying to include some sort of physics instruction with my 12-year-old. It's the only science topic that she hasn't really covered very well. Anyway, look at CK12 because the stuff looks really good and it's pretty easy to tie this into, if you use Google Classroom, you can tie those together pretty easily. Another one I seriously considered when I was looking at science for middle school is OpenSciEd. If you haven't checked it out, definitely look at it. They have full middle school science curriculum. I believe they even have some high school levels. Let me see. Yep. They even have some high school units available now that you can check out. It looks like a really great program. I was wanting to maybe use it, but I think this might work better if you had a larger group of kids, say 3 or 4 kids that were doing this together, and you can kind of use that discussion, bouncing ideas off each other part of it. Or if you had a co-op and you taught co-op classes, this might be a really good option for that. I am definitely not an expert when it comes to free and low-cost homeschool resource options, but if it's something you're interested in, I can try to make a video on it. Just leave me a comment down below. Some other things you can try to save a little bit of money are to group your kids together in different subjects. This will save your sanity as well as your wallet. Content areas like history and science work really well for doing family style, and that's how we did history and science all the way up until the end of last school year, and we still do history together. We probably will continue to do history together until my daughter reaches high school level. It doesn't always work for all families and all students, but it's definitely something to look into to save some money. Another idea is to keep an eye out for curriculum that ages well, and what I mean by that is you can use a lot of the materials with your younger kids as they age up. An example of that would be we use Math UC and have since the beginning. So I have all the teacher materials, the books, the DVD, the manipulatives, all of those things from when my daughter did them, and when my son is ready, all I need to get for him is the student book. Some curricula actually have student books that are non-consumable, so that's another way to save some money. If you don't have to use it up, then you can use it for your next kid. Also keep an eye on those copyright statements or pages in curricula. They'll often say whether or not you're allowed to copy pages to use with your family. I know some books, I think Well-Trained Mind allows you to copy pages for use within your own family. Don't quote me on that though. And other companies don't allow any copying of pages. I believe Michael Clay Thompson is one that does not allow that. So some do, some don't, but it's something to look for. You also want to keep an eye on where you're buying your curriculum. I'm sure it's nothing new, but don't forget to check on Facebook. There are a lot of buy-sell trade pages for homeschool curricula in general, and there are also pages that are specific to certain companies or curricula, like Math UC, again, has a dedicated buy-sell trade Facebook group, where you can buy and sell just, I think it's Matthew C. or maybe all of Demi products. But there are groups for build your library books that you're using. There are groups for, I believe Michael Clay Thompson has a Facebook group where you can buy and sell things. So definitely look into those. There's also a website called, let me see if I can pull it up, Homeschool Buyer Co-op. No, they changed their name. It's now called Homeschool Buyers Club. It used to be called Homeschool Buyers Co-op. And they have like group buys on things. We are considering using ThinkWell Math for my daughter as she gets into pre-algebra next year. And if we do that, I believe I read that sometimes they have a group buy discount for the ThinkWell online program. It doesn't hurt just to do a quick search on here and see if what you're looking for is available for a group buy discount. I hope these tips helped you out and you enjoy getting a little peek into what we actually spend and how our budget looks. Homeschooling can absolutely work for you no matter what your budget is. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell for notifications. There's a playlist up here that you can check out to see all the other homeschool moms sharing their budgets. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!